Apologies if you can hear a motor revving in this video because one of my neighbors is being a complete idiot and just revving his engine over and over again. So I apologize if there's noise in this, but I'm here to talk about Tangled the series. I'm here to discuss whether it's good or bad, whether it's worth putting your time or money into, because this is one of the first TV series to premiere this year in the animation department, and it's the first one from Disney Channel this year. So there's a lot going into this. There's a lot of things that I think I had going in, like Tangled, of all the movies they can make a TV series out of. I think when you think about that, I think Tangled is pretty low on that list. Tangled has a very finite ending. It just has a beautiful, well done ending. It feels very closed. It feels like they actually wrapped up everything they needed to wrap up in the story. There are like a couple loose threads here that aren't really worth expanding on, but hey, Tangled the series is here. So when this was announced, my question for it was, what are you going to do with Tangled? What can you do with Tangled as a TV series? Because Frozen as a TV series, that has a lot. Like when I think about this, I'm thinking Frozen would make a good TV series. They have Big Hero 6 later this year. That's a good idea for a TV series. There's all these other movies. Like imagine all the cultural things you could do with like Moana or any of these other films. Like Tangled, I look at and I'm like, how does this fit the television mold? Because when I think Disney TV shows based off movies, I think Lilo and Stitch, the series. That one, they had to go collect all the experiments. Okay, because Stitch is number 626. That makes sense. Aladdin, the series. You get all these tales from Arabian Nights and so forth. The only one I can think of that doesn't really make sense is Tailspin, but that's honestly just inserting Jungle Book characters into a new environment. This is set in the same environment, the same universe, the same continuity, and just looking at it, going in, I'm just like, what are you gonna do with this? Like, I wouldn't even think a movie sequel to Tangled would take off or do anything with it, because it doesn't really leave you with any ideas. Oh, this is where it could go next. This is where it's logically going to go. It's not. Like, when I say I think Frozen 2 is a good idea, because I have so many questions about that movie. Like, there's so much to go into, but Tangled describes where the magic comes from. It describes how it ends. You get everything's wrapped up. So going into this, I was kind of expecting a lot of filler. Like, I was expecting this to just be, oh, we're gonna go on a silly little, this doesn't have to be Tangled. It can just be an adventure. We're just inserting the Tangled characters to have a brand, I guess. But hey, I just finished its grace period. I give shows a 5-episode grace period after the pilot. Sometimes they pass it, sometimes they don't. For example, Steven Universe actually failed my grace period test, but I continued watching because I had bought the full volume. So I actually got to Mirror Gem, Ocean Gem, so that's when it starts picking up. So normally I give this kind of a grace period. Teen Titans is another one that just passed it. But like, as we know, most shows don't really, they don't really have good starting episodes. Like Star Wars: The Clone Wars, Adventure Time, like decent but not phenomenal. This is different. This has a really strong opening. And I'm just going to say it reminds me a bit of the way Gravity Falls hooked you at the start. It's not exactly the same, but you know how Gravity Falls established a mystery and then it kind of went episodic for a bit to establish some hook episodes so that you could just tune into Disney Channel and watch a random episode of Gravity Falls without any continuity. Tangled the series, in its 6 episodes so far, is doing that. There's 2 that have to do with the continuity. One is just kind of thrown in last minute and it's kind of just following up on the movie. And then the other 4 are whatever. They're kind of those episodic episodes that are kind of, hey, this character can carry a plot. This character can run through with this character. We don't need Rapunzel in the main focus of an episode to make it good. stuff like that. It's very much establishing what they can do with the story, and I think they've succeeded in a lot of that. They've established that any of the three leads can actually carry an entire story by themselves. They can do A and B plots really well, and they can introduce concepts and ideas that are pretty fun. The entire series is very relaxed. When I was going in, I was thinking it's going to be a lot of filler. There's actually a lot of character development here, and it's gives itself room to breathe. It's not really filler. I would not say this is filler in the slightest, because a lot of it is done very well. But really, the question a lot of people have is, should I watch this? Like, this is a follow-up on a movie from 2011 that's premiering as a TV series in 2017, and although the trailers make it look beautiful, is it actually good? Because the series can look nice but still be terrible. I think one of the best examples of that is if anyone has ever watched the TV series Stoked, it's a very beautiful TV series. It looks gorgeous. The colors are nice, just like really nice sunsets, oceans, all that. But you have to put up with a lot of cheese factor. You have to put up with some kind of stupid plots, some stupid things. Like, it's not done that way here. Here it's actually beautiful and it's actually well written. So in my opinion, it is actually worth looking into. It's only at 6 episodes right now, and I think it will just continue to get better at this point. Because I was worried, are you going to have a good pilot and then go downhill? Or are you going to have a bad pilot then go uphill? In this case, it's more or less you watch the 55-minute pilot movie, and then it's like, how would I describe this? If you've watched Samurai Jack when they have the big premiere movie, and then they go down to more episodic 22-minute episodes, so you go from this really long episode to just these smaller ones. It's very much like that, where it's not so much it's worse, it's just you have that first episode, you're like, oh, this is much shorter than I thought, because you start with a bigger movie. So in this case, I think it's really worth looking into, because even though after you finish the movie there is that not a drop in quality but a drop in time, it's kind of a jarring bit, you do get used to that. I've gone back and watched those episodes after I caught up, after past the grace period. I went back and watched them. They're good episodes. It's just that right after the pilot, it's a little bit lackluster, because that pilot is really good. I'm just gonna say, even if you don't want to watch the series, I recommend watching Tangled Before Ever After. It's a really good follow-up to Tangled. It does set up the series really well. And I think that's probably what's going to be turning people off the most, is what happens in Tangled Before Ever After. I think the hair comes back is going to end up, turning people off, because it feels like a crutch. When I first saw the trailers for this, I'm like, oh, this is just a crutch. They're just adding the hair for no reason. It's just going to be there so they can sell the dolls with the long hair. The way we see Rapunzel drawn in the Disney princess lineup, she has long hair, so she has to have the long hair, otherwise they're not going to sell toys. Maybe that's a part of it, maybe it's not, but the entire series as a whole is really good. Like, the way they handle this, what they do with the hair coming back. It's not just the hair coming back. It actually has a purpose. When the hair comes back, it's part of this overarching plot they build up in the first one. Like, they don't give you all the answers in the first episode. The hair has, like, new abilities. It doesn't really heal anymore, and that was a pretty funny moment where it doesn't. This one character reaches up to their head and they see blood on there still, and they're like, nope, it doesn't work. You get a couple great moments like that, and the hair is doing some weird things. Like, at one point it's floating in the air, like she has like psychic powers, and then there's another part where it's like indestructible. It's really weird, but it's really fascinating at the same time. Like, you know what I'm talking about. Like, I think there's a big drive to push an overarching plot now in television series, and I think that is kind of an offshoot of what Gravity Falls did so well. I think that's what really popularized that concept, because like before that, like if you look at like Adventure Time or Steven Universe, like Steven Universe Season 1 does not have an overarching plot. It doesn't. They might have had little inklings of it, but I think they only decided to go through with it towards the end. Adventure Time is very much the same way, but on a bigger season basis. This is going to do that. It's going to have the larger overarching plot. It's going to maybe address it here or there. Now, whether it does it like Gravity Falls, where there's constant reminders, or if they do it like Star versus the Forces of Evil, where the plot really picks up towards the end of a season, I'm not sure. It's only 6 episodes in, like I said. So far, those 6 episodes, I've enjoyed 5 of them. I've enjoyed the pilot and 4 of the regular episodes. 1 episode, I wouldn't say it's bad or I didn't enjoy it. It's just a little bit lesser. In the same way, if you look at like Avatar: Last Airbender, The Great Divide, that's kind of what it feels like. That 1 episode where it's good, but by the standard the show has set up and built for itself, it's a little lackluster. So overall, I think the series is really good. I think the main point that actually keeps me hooked, because they haven't done much with the mystery, is the characters. I think they've done these characters really well. You get Rapunzel and Eugene. They're very well done. And their chemistry is, it feels like movie level writing. It's the best way I can put it. And the new lead, Cassandra, is also very good, although I'm pretty sure a couple viewers might be turned off from her at the beginning, because she's one of those characters where it's like she has like the girly job, but she's also like the daughter of the captain of the guards, and you can probably tell where that's going. You can probably see, oh, okay, it's that kind of character. It's not done poorly. It's actually done very well. I just feel like Sandra may be polarizing at first, but I feel like she's grown on me quite a bit as the series goes on. I think every episode with her, like, they drop like she's adopted, like, and they don't make it a big plot point. So there's some intrigue to her character. I actually find her very fascinating with the polarizing job with her personality. I think it's pretty cool that she has such a different personality, and it really blends with these other 2 characters really well. The one thing I do wish we saw more of is her parents. Her parents have really good voice actors. They are very fun to be around, and I actually really like these characters. So whether or not they'll continue to showcase them, we'll be seeing in the future, but I hope they get a lot more screen time. There haven't been really any villains. Like, in the pilot, they kind of build up that there are these villains, but they get caught by the end. Villains tend to be episodic in here, so I'm not sure if they're going to establish a greater scope villain towards the end or not. I don't know, like, they do have Rapunzel have these near panic attacks a couple times. One time she actually has a flashback to Mother Gothel, so, and at the end of the pilot, there's like a end credits scene that's kind of leads to the fact that there probably is a greater scope villain out there somewhere, but how big of a role they play really depends. Yeah, villains, I find there's like a couple callbacks. Like, you get to see like the twin brothers from the movie. I forget what they're called, but the one with the eye patch and the one with the sideburns. They're in one episode, and it doesn't really feel forced. It feels like they would be in prison in Corona. That's another thing. It's a castle. It's not a palace. So there's a prison hold underneath, and we actually see it a lot. Strangely, like, that is one of the locations they keep going back to. But yeah, I think they're just setting up the series. We haven't really gotten a villain that's continuously going to be there. I feel like that may come in later. If it doesn't really need to, because honestly, I could just watch, if the hair hadn't come back and it had just been Rapunzel getting used to Corona, I would have given this series the same kind of grade I've given it now. I really like it. I really am fascinated to see where they take this, because it's very different from those TV shows we got when they were doing all the direct DVD like movies. This is much better. It's going places I'm happy with. And it is really respectable to its audience. It treats you like you're smart. The only episode I didn't like was the one that kind of talked down. It felt like it was hammering in a moral and kind of botched it at the same time. So overall, like, it's getting a really good grade for me. I think a lot of other people like it too. So if you're skeptical, I'd advise going and checking out that Tangled Before Ever After. And if you like that, but you're not sure if you're gonna like the series or not, there is an episode that I would advise checking out. It's called Cassandra versus Eugene. It's the most recent one I got. It really gives you an insight into these secondary characters besides Rapunzel, and I feel like it actually plays the dynamic up really good. It has familiar faces from the movie. So I feel like that would be a really good one to jump into the series at if you're not just going to watch it in order. Actually, the episode right after the movie is a follow-up to the movie, so that one also works. But if you're skeptical, it's worth a look at least, I think. It really is, and I feel like a lot of people will like it. But if you don't, hey, it's new, it hasn't really established itself. Shows like Star didn't catch on until really recently, really. They only started catching on the second season of Star's like mid-season finale at Bon Bon Birthday Clown. So if you're conflicted on this series, go ahead and watch it. The only thing I will warn you about is sometimes the animation is a little clunky, and this comes in action scenes. They've done a couple now, and it improves with each one. So I feel like it feels like they're actually trying to fix the problem that they have. They aren't very good at boarding it. They're not very good at animate. It's uncanny. That's the best way I can put it, and it's very rare in the series, but when it does happen, it feels a little off. But as it goes on, I feel like they've gotten much better with the action. So if that's my only complaint, really, there isn't much to complain about. I feel like this is a really good series, and although it plays things a little safe sometimes, they do take some pretty interesting risks with it. The way they take this is it can lead to a lot of things if they take advantage of it. And I'm hoping they do, because so far they haven't, but we're 6 episodes in. It could do anything. So that's it for now. If you're skeptical at all, or if you're wondering if you should watch it. Watch the pilot at least, which is Tangled Before Ever After. The entire movie is really good. It's probably my favorite part of the series so far. My favorite episode beyond that, that's a little difficult to say, because they kind of mesh together, but not in a negative way. Yeah, my favorite episode of the series so far, they had this one with a painting. I really enjoyed it. It was Fitzherbert PI, and we actually have Eugene try out to be a guard, and it's really entertaining to see his personality in a guard. So you get some interesting things. It's mostly a character-driven show. There's not much. There's a mystery. There's a couple other things, but it's mostly character. If you like a relaxed environment with some nice interaction, this is a show for you. So I'll leave it at that. Go check it out. I can't recommend it enough. And yeah, I'll see you back here when another show passes that grace period. I think I'm gonna do DuckTales next. That's the one I'm really interested in, because its animation style interests me, but only time will tell if it's good or not. So if you've seen it, let me know what you thought in the comments down below. If you haven't, let me know why you haven't, why you thought like maybe I shouldn't check this out, or if you're planning to. What are your thoughts on this, regardless of whether you've seen it or not? And make sure to like specify that, so it doesn't come across as you're like, I don't like it, despite the fact that you haven't seen it. You might not like the trailers. I don't think the trailers for this were very good, so just let me know what you thought, what you think of it, why you aren't or have watched it in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye.